welcome everyone. Hello, welcome, Abby. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks everyone. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, we're here today to talk about sorry about that. Again, just as we got going, I accidentally hit the back button on my trackpad. But welcome everyone. Hello everyone. Thank you so much. Let's start the day off with a little bit of chaos, right? Why not? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Welcome everyone. Welcome as folks start coming into the audience. Welcome. We love to have everyone. My name is Amelia B.A. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Tim Martin, he, him pronouns.
Kevin Fullen, he, him pronouns.
Yeah, welcome everyone. And I'm going to say a little bit. Hey, Sharon. Sharon says, hi there, Chris, just what we need. I don't know. I don't know about Chris. Maybe that was a type error, but we're glad. Oh, maybe just what we need. Thank you, Sharon. Always. Oh, chaos, just what we need. Oh, there we go. There's an engaging topic. We love to hear about a pinch of chaos. Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much, Sharon. So glad to have you all. Glad to be here with everyone. So today we're going to be talking about dignity. We do, by the way, everybody, we do workshops every week on dignity on Meetup, and they're over Zoom. You're always welcome to join them. I'm going to share the one in the chat right now for next week, just so you have the link. But every week we host code labs and dignity labs. And so this is an opportunity for us to practice at challenging situations that may violate our dignity, and how we can react in such a way that we not only protect our dignity, but we protect the dignity of others too. This is a link to our Meetup. I know that's a lot of things, but you can also just go to our website, codewhatever.us, which is a much easier way to get there. That's codewhatever.us. And that will get you to the Meetup for Sundays at 10 a.m. Central Time. And so we're here and we're going to talk about dignity. We're actually going to talk about trans dignity, which is a really important topic today. Something that really matters to a lot of us. And I just want to share here as we're going here. We're going to today. We're going to just take a little time to welcome each other into the space and talk about what brings us all here. And we'll have some time to explore the 10 Elements of Dignity by Donna Hicks, which are powerful tools that are used in situations where warring parties are at conflict, in civil war conditions, all kinds of things. And these are great ways to learn to prevent violence, to build relationships, and to increase dignity everywhere. And so we're really glad to have everyone. And so we'll be exploring that today. And so, yeah, what brings everybody here today? Kevin and Tim, what brings both of you here?
Go ahead, Tim.
Thank you, Kevin. I just have been struggling with keeping conversations positive and just, yeah, seems like we could all use some skills, and just love the idea of joining together with just a space, a safe place to practice protecting each other's dignity. I didn't even know what dignity was not too long ago. So just really grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
No,
it's such a pleasure to have you.
Tim, it's in a similar way. I've only recently joined in learning this dignity work, and what I've realized is because of all the things we go through in life, we get bumped and pushed around, and there's sometimes it's hard to heal from that. And actually, dignity is something I found in my own life that I have to train on. I have to understand it. I have to have resources for it, and then I can stay in it more. I can give dignity, which I want to do. So today is a training that I'm happy to attend because I want the neural pathways greased up. So dignity's coming out right away.
Mm. Yeah, I know. It's so important. Like we take it for granted, right? That dignity is a given, and it is a given. It's inherent. But like we take it for granted. And oh yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I forgot we're up close and personal in this format, so you can see all the facial expressions. But yeah, what came to mind when you were saying is the field of consciousness that we've been indoctrinated in over the centuries, the intergenerational trauma of separation, and just it's the water we swim in is indignity. So
Yes.
this feels very natural, but at the same time new. It's like, oh yeah, we're remembering these skills, I feel like.
Yes.
It really, you said that it's the water we swim in dignity, and uh, and I hear Sharon saying, uh, "Love neural pathways that work right." Yes,
Yes. That's what we're
right.
about.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to practice this stuff. It doesn't come easy to all of us,
No.
uh, and it may not come easy to you, this quest to build dignity. And, this is really important work today because, hate is increasing all around the world everywhere. There's more hate today than there's ever been. And I wanted to say that this work has the potential to connect people who are not able to connect in their level of engagement at this time, but through this work might be able to connect. And sometimes that can be a difference that makes a difference for whether people are able to be free or survive or stay in their neighborhood because they
Mm-hmm.
have friends in that neighborhood. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
takes an interest in them and cares about them and sees them as fellow humans.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to spread that work everywhere. We're trying to really get it out there. And so we're really grateful to everybody who's in the audience today joining us for this. And as you're joining us for this, we want to talk about what we expect of folks when they come to these sessions, whether you're in the chat or whether you're on the screen or anything. And if you are in the chat, we're trying to run a session here. And, we want to try to include as many people as possible. And sometimes there's going to be people in here who maybe violate people's dignity in such a way that it's very distracting. And what we're going to ask people to do is try to follow the process. We don't want to block anybody or ban anybody, but if somebody is making it hard for us to get our work done, we might ask you to leave and say, "Here's my email. Let's talk about it in the future." Because we want everybody included in this work. We want to bring people in, but we also need to make sure that we're not traumatizing each other as we do the work or preventing ourselves from doing this work in itself. Does someone want to read our container or read one of our container items? We can just read them.
Cooperating to balance all our interests with the precious time we have or we share.
Yeah, and this is a great one actually to talk about in just the sense that we were just talking about it, right? That we have precious time here, and so we want to value everybody's time as we do this work. And I can read the next one. And if you're in the audience, if you have any questions about this, or if there's something that you feel that would help you, if we added it, feel free to share in the chat. And Sharon says, pardon my typos. I said to Tim, I hear that difficulty having positive convos, and it came out, I hate that. Wrong. That's okay, Sharon. Like, it's all fine. So
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to be here learning to challenge hate with the power of love or the power of dignity. I mean, you don't have to love each other, but at least we're hoping to help people protect each other's dignity. And would you like to read another one? Anyone?
Yeah, I'd like to read one. Learning to challenge. Oh, let me do the next one. We can all do better. It's okay not to be perfect. So that's a beautiful one, because in this space we come as we are. Like, things come up, I don't get all resolved in an hour, but it challenged me to learn and keep learning, think about it, talk to other people, practice love that I saw happening. So it's not a complete at the end of the call. Everyone is complete on everything. It's a process.
Yeah.
Practice
that's
makes
right.
perfect.
It sure really helps, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we never get there fully. Because we're human.
That's right. You want to read one? Yeah, go ahead.
Making sure we all get home safely.
This is a big one, right? Like in this work, it's critical that we don't traumatize each other too badly. That's us on the stage, and those of you all in the audience. We're looking to make sure that people get home in a decent way. This work is here to learn. It's not here to exhaust each other.
Mm-hmm.
Willingness to learn. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, willingness to learn to accept different genders, classes, sexual orientation, ages, religions, ideologies, abilities. Wow, I think willingness to accept introduces all of those things that we're learning to accept. It's what the work is about, and so we put it up because when we work to accept, we're letting people know everyone's invited to learn how to accept. It's a process. I'm not signing on. I already finished all these things. No, I'm learning more.
That's right. That's right. It's a process, right? We can't. Goes back to the other one. We can give ourselves permission to be imperfect.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the last one, we ask you, especially if you're in the audience, but I mean, obviously if you're on stage too, that if you're going to bring something up that's potentially graphic, whether sexual or violent, for instance, or something that's very, very intense, we hope that folks, as they're doing that, that before you do it, that you check in with folks. Are people ready for that? Is that something people want? Very, very important for helping each other get home safely. And I see Sharon saying, lifelong learning as imperfect beings. We're human. Yeah. Lifelong learning, right? Like humans, we're made to learn. And that's a beautiful thing about us. It's really lovely. So we're really privileged here today to all be learning together, that we have the time and space and the technology here with us, that we can connect like this, all of us together. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this. Does anybody else have any needs of us as facilitators? You're going to be here. And so if there's anything that as facilitators that matters to you about how we help people today, feel free to put it in the chat. If there's nothing else, let's take a look now here. So we have this image of this beautiful child here. And if you're in the audience, does anyone disagree that this child, just looking at this child or any child, you look at a child and you say, is this not a precious, invaluable life? The worth of this is immeasurable. Could anybody disagree with that? It's a profound notion. And so if you're in the audience, feel free to share what for you is dignity. And as we're sharing that in the audience, I want to say very often in these settings, some people will say that dignity is respect. And that's Donna Hicks, who wrote the Dignity book. She says that's one of the most frequent things that happens with her when she asks the question that an audience will say. So dignity is something that is inherent. Respect is something that's earned, she'll say. Right, and Sharon says here, I often interchange the two. Yeah, a lot of people do, and which is fine. But for instance, the example I like to give is that I can think about a war criminal, and I could say to myself, this person has inherent worth and value, right? Like anybody can do good things every day of the week, and has the possible life of making a difference every single day. But if you're a war criminal, I can't respect you for that, right? Like if you're abusing somebody and you keep doing that, I don't want to lift you up as an image of somebody that we ought to be following. I think that's very important. And so Donna Hicks says that dignity is not respect. It's different than that. What for both of you comes up in all this?
For me, I know with the analogy you just gave, a war criminal, a perpetrator of violence, he may have a heart attack. So I don't respect what he did in the past, but I respect his dignity, and I'm going to treat him like every other human being that I love and going to do my best for. His obligation as a doctor to respect the dignity, even if it's people that I don't necessarily respect the choices they made.
Right. So as a cardiologist, you have to uphold the Hippocratic Oath.
Yes.
And so somebody comes to you, it's not for you to say, "Oh, I'm the Lord Almighty, and I get to I know all about this person, and I'm going to pass judgment on them." You might know that they are a war criminal, right? But they have dignity, and that dignity of receiving safety and health, which they may have denied to others.
Yes.
We don't have to stoop to their level.
No.
There's something compelling about your example, Kevin, and I'm just wondering, are you saying that you have a duty to provide care as a doctor, regardless of their behaviors? And I'm just extrapolating on this. BA, are you saying that we all have a duty to protect each other's dignity, or that we all deserve dignity?
That's what I believe in my heart. I don't, one thing that I think is important is not everybody has to agree with me. I can only be responsible for my behavior, and I'm on here on a live stream trying to demonstrate that, right? And I have a great commitment to this, but I can't make other people do that or speak extra serious to try to get them to do it, right? People have to choose that. And so And so, but I would say that dignity is inherent, and I would say that that we should protect it. I think we'd prevent a lot of violence that way.
So, Tim, I would also respond as well via that it's not just that I have a duty to deliver health care, fix the heart attack, put a stent in, but I also have the duty when I go in the room to greet him in a dignified way, to listen to him, to explain what I'm doing, like I would every one of my patients. I don't, so it isn't like, oh, you deserve the care, so I'm going to do it. It's like I have the opportunity to show dignity in every situation. And every situation is a training for me.
Every patient's new and different, unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
And modeling it for the staff, the nurses, other people, they see that you're giving this person dignity. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
And yeah, Oscar P. 1922, who is my dad, says, by acknowledging their dignity, you are showing your own dignity.
Yes.
And Sharon also said a little bit earlier, you're very welcome. When we started this, Sharon said about respect and dignity, she said, understand explanation. So now, go ahead.
I hope there's a way we can hook in dignity to life, because if duties of care and inherent characteristics or traits of dignity is something that's in all of us, including every living creature on the planet, then it seems like we could make that kind of a part of the definition. Like every living being deserves dignity. The trees, the river, whatever.
Yeah, well, and there's like, we have to say, if we have dignity from our DNA, well, then the trees have DNA too, right? We all have this amazing genetic heritage inside of us. And by the way, when I say genetic heritage, I'm not trying to say some people have a better genetic heritage than other people. We're not trying to go there. We're saying we all have genetics in us, and that's like amazing. Like, that's a miracle.
It's precious.
Yeah. And so with that, let's start exploring. This is from from Donna Hicks's book. She has a number of books. Leading with Dignity is one that I used. I just took a picture from it so that people could see. But this book, it has in it 10 elements of dignity. And do we want to just maybe read these off? And I see also we've got another comment. Oscar P 1922 says connectivity. And I see, Tim, you say interdependence. Yeah. So do we want, does somebody want to read, we'll just popcorn these off and read them one by one?
Sure. Acceptance of indignity. I mean, excuse me. Acceptance, I couldn't see. Acceptance of identity is part of dignity. So how people identify by gender, religion, race. Therefore, we want to honor that. We want to honor, let people be exactly as they are,
Right. We have to honor, and one thing I always notice in this, and I had mentioned this earlier today, is that it says here, approach people as being neither inferior nor superior to you.
Yes.
Give others the freedom to express their authentic selves without fear of being seen negatively. And I also see that Sharon Bubby Mishugana just walked in. Welcome, Sharon. Hello.
I have two names now. Yeah. This came up as one I used originally. It's changed since, but I'll take either.
Well, we'll take it.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're going through the different elements of dignity. Do you want to read one off, Sharon, and we'll explore it a little bit?
Sure. What was the last one? Because I've been
So we just finished acceptance of identity.
Okay, gotcha. Recognition.
Yeah. Does someone want to just read this out loud really quickly?
I'll do it because I said it and haven't said much else. Validate others for their talents, hard work, thoughtfulness, and help. Be generous with praise. Give credit to others for their contributions, ideas, and experiences.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a powerful concept here when we recognize each other. In fact, I'm going to put on the table here a little thing. Do we want to like imagine you're at a place talking, and maybe with a friend, and you say to them something that's deeply important to you, but they don't even notice it. How might that make you feel?
Neglected.
Yeah. Like how's that going to make your dignity feel?
It's going to shut me down. I'm not going to say anything now because I'm not being heard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important to listen to each other and try to connect. And that's what folks have even been saying here, even just a second ago, is the importance of this this connection that we make with each other. And somebody want to read number 3?
Acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement. And let's keep going. Let's just read through all of them really quickly. I'll say inclusion, number 4.
And safety.
Fairness.
Was that fair?
In stereo.
Yes, in unison, cooperation.
That's an emphasis.
Independence. I snuck that in.
Understanding.
Benefit of the doubt.
Accountability.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. One reason I got on here, I like to be on a bigger screen, and I finally have the energy, sort of. But I was also trying to text some more, and it just wasn't happening, and I don't know why. So I had a comment, and yeah, my phone stopped doing that. Anyway, the comment was about the difference between respect and dignity for a war criminal, and I had to say, first of all, I also said hi, Oscar P. to Amelia's dad, but anyway, that also didn't go through. But I changed the subject. I'm back now. Okay. So I was saying that I have a hard time as a human wanting to give dignity to a war criminal. I'm sorry. I want them at the International Criminal Court. This is what I feel. And I want them there so that they can stop harming people like they've been doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah. I mean, everybody, of course, has dignity, but war criminals, I have some doubt. I'm sorry.
Well, that's great that you are expressing that you've been so brave to come on here, even as we're saying something different, to say what you think. And it's interesting, right? Because I don't feel like there's a contradiction between saying that, though we don't see it, it's hard to see maybe, but even somebody like Slobodan Milosevic, he might have dignity, but he still got brought to the International Criminal Court, and there's still such a thing as accountability. If we come back to our elements of dignity, accountability is the crown of them all. So just because you do harm, one of the things. Oh, we just lost Sharon. Maybe she just came off because she had accomplished her goal. But yeah, there's a sense here that it's not to say that the person's let off the hook. It's in fact, Desmond Tutu, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and others have said that truth is an important critical force in this work. If we don't operate with the truth, like it's one thing to say, I'm going to, I'd really like to get a job at this firm, so I'm going to be nice to this war criminal and say something that I know he wants to hear. It's another thing to meet somebody, see them as a full human, and perhaps even say to them, when you bombed that place, I had family there and I lost a family member. We're not saying to not do that.
Yeah, and to Sharon's point, there might be someone in the beloved community that you do not want to associate with, but that doesn't mean they necessarily don't deserve or don't belong in the community. It just means that they're going to be way over there.
Yeah. Welcome back, Sharon.
I don't know how I got lost, but
yeah, it's fine. No big deal. Did you hear what we said?
I only heard some of it. Some of it I didn't hear. Now I'm not hearing Tim right now. I'm seeing Tim point his finger, but didn't hear what he's saying.
Well, so what you had asked the question about, you were saying that with respect, does somebody else want to repeat it or summarize it maybe, besides me, since I started us?
I think Sharon was saying that for a war criminal, she's not so sure about dignity because she wanted them to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
You can clarify that maybe.
Well, the accountability was absolutely important. And then I didn't say this, but I'm thinking this now. Once he's behind bars, I can give him dignity.
Yeah, right. Like I think that's a great point, right? And so that's good. Are there any other elements? Now, if you're in the audience and you're just coming in, I see we have about 5 people watching now, which is more than before. We're just a modest little group here.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We have these elements of dignity up on the screen. If anybody's in the audience and has any questions about these, we're going to keep coming back to them as we work.
Oh, should we put a link to the elements?
Slides? Yeah, let's put a link. Yeah, and I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link to the slides, and I'm also going to
or at least the dignity elements.
Yeah, let me.
It's on the archive.
Yeah, I can do that. Let's start with that, and we can expand by and by. And so in a little bit, I think is there anything else and I just put it in the chat. You can see it in TikTok or on TikTok, Twitch, or in YouTube.
Cool.
If there's any elements of dignity that you want us to explore or explain why that's an element of dignity, we're very glad to do that, to try to help people understand this work. So anyhow, we're yeah.
And for anybody who's just getting here, one of the questions was open-ended. What is dignity? And oftentimes, I think we summarized, or someone realized that it's often confused with respect, and like you have to earn respect, but dignity is an inherent trait. And the last thing I'll say is a nice summary of that is that we can respect someone's dignity. It's a nice way to put it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Tim, let me put what I hear you saying in a slide earlier. We saw this beautiful child. So the next day, if the picture is taken one day, the next day, is that a good day to disrespect his dignity? How about the day after that? No, so it's something that you have. We use child as an example, but realistically, we know our dignity. We get bumped around, we get hurt, our dignity, but realistically, it's still inherent in something you deserve. Even if you make a mistake in life, there may be consequences.
I love what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
And what day, like when he's 10 years old, then he no longer has as much dignity? No, all of us have dignity. We start with the child because
thank you.
He's just precious, and that's just.
Thank you, Kevin. I feel like the salient point there is that it's something that is inherent,
Yes.
but it depends on being given it, being graced the dignity by others. It's a kind of a reciprocal relationship.
Yes.
It's not something that we can lose by our own behavior if everybody maintains it from their end. So it's like a relationality thing.
Yes.
Yeah, this is kind of an interesting point. Like we could go on and talk about the metaphysics of dignity, right? When does dignity begin, and when, and we could look at that. And actually, in Leading with Dignity, Donna Hicks explores that in some beautiful ways, actually, because her notion of dignity has evolved too. Even though she's one of the world's experts on the subject.
Yeah, she says that. Yes.
Yeah, that it's something. It's something that's changed in her. That Desmond Tutu taught her a lot about dignity.
Yes.
And so did others, people that she's worked with. So I think that brings some great questions. So we've explored this a little bit. I don't hear from people in the audience asking for us to explore more of the elements of dignity at this moment. So do we feel ready for the role play?
I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, let's jump into that. And now, Kevin and Bubby, I'm going to pull you both off the stage.
Okay.
And so it's going to seem like you're getting kicked out of everything or something's wrong. But that's just the way it is. So you may or may not hear me once you get off the stage.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, wow. Look, thank you for the benefit of the doubt, Kevin. I'm so grateful. Thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, well, I'm going to pull you both off the stage then.
Thank you for understanding.
Yes.
Yeah, good. So, okay, let's, okay, Tim. So let's just tell folks a little bit. This role play is based on something that happened in real life, but we've changed it around quite a bit and simplified it. And I have to say that my behavior is a little bit different here, for better or for worse. And it was about us actually trying to figure out and to adjust the name of these sessions, because you might not, you might just be coming in and might be wondering about this, but we call these sessions now Engaging Hate by the Grace of Dignity. But we were debating about that for a minute, and so I want to I just want to give you that background as we're coming into this role play, that's part of this. And before we start, I'm going to just that I'm going to make a little heading here for us, so that folks who are coming late might have like a little sense of this.
A little orientation.
Yeah, just a little
context. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so for everybody who's in the audience, feel free as we're going to share what you notice. In fact, actually, let me add something here. So we've got this here, and so I'll start us off on this role play, shall I? Okay. So I was thinking about your idea, Tim, of hospicing hate, and I was thinking like I really like hospicing hate because the sense that like that's our goal, right? Like we want to make hate something that we start, that we support and love, but also let go of. And I think that's really beautiful. But I was also kind of wondering, like, is that like a little bit like too morbid? Maybe like kind of like funeral home tones and things like that. Like thinking about it, maybe we want to try something like engaging hate.
Yeah, that's a good point, B.A. Thank you for bringing that up. It's kind of a nice compromise, engaging, because when we started, it was facing, which felt a little weak or neutral, and then hospicing might be a little too much, not necessary. I mean, I can see, like, if you're from the global south and you're a petite woman who's on the receiving end of domination and sort of the patriarchy and the colonization mindedness of the global north, but for us white guys in the global north, we don't need such a strong word.
Us white guys, like,
yeah,
Tim, can you see why that might be a problem?
Don't be so sensitive, yeah.
Tim, this is my identity. This is critical to me. Don't you understand? This is like, you're such a jerk, Tim. I can't believe you're treating me like this. I'm out.
Fine. Let's leave.
And scene.
Yeah.
What did folks notice? I'm bringing everybody back on the stage now. Mm-hmm. So Sharon and Kevin, welcome back.
Thank you.
And if you're
nice job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. For folks in the audience who are watching, feel free to share what you noticed, if you'd like. And as we start, what do you notice? What did you notice?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm saying this without putting a lot of thought into it. It's just coming out. Things went south really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was my observation.
What happened?
Well, as I understand it, Tim referred to your conversation together as guys, basically, and you took offense at that, which is understandable. Something I might have done myself, Tim, as you know, because I'm not very good at it yet. But anyway, and Amelia showed she was pissed off from that reference, and she wanted you to know, and why didn't you know? And then I also noticed, I thought it was interesting that you just said, "Okay, out of here," because that's something I would not expect you to say. So it was interesting to see it. I know it was a role play. I'm done.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Hey, Kevin,
So I noticed that Tim he was warming up a number of indignities, referring to the gentle, soft women of the South, and then trying to bond with you as if you were a man when you're not. So it was like a reach out for bonding. And then when he got caught on it, he immediately attacked you in a misogynist trope, like you're too sensitive, you have no sense of humor. It's it was an insult followed by an insult with no recognition how angry you were. You didn't say anything. It's just like, oh, you're, it's just, so you got really angry. You missed probably an opportunity, but he got you so angry in a few milliseconds with his back-to-back insult. If you think about it, oftentimes the indignity is a number of things.
Oh no, did we lose Kevin for a second?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Darn it. Let me try bring Kevin back up. Oh no.
Internet connection.
Yeah. But Kevin was saying that an indignity is often multiple things. I'm going to message him really quickly.
Yeah, go for it. I would just hear that Kevin is bringing up some good points about how layered it can be, that almost like when someone's being gaslit, you're responding to the outrageous thing that someone's saying, and it just spirals out of control. It's multiple dimensional, and we could go down the list of elements of dignity to pinpoint which ones were violated. And yes, to Kevin's point, I'm sorry to keep playing that role. I wanted to say what I actually did say, but I guess
yeah. If you, I mean, well, we can let's explore that later. So we don't add more to the table. But
thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah, of course. And I think Kevin's about to come back in just a moment. Here he is. Let's add him back to the stage. Welcome back, Kevin.
Okay, apologize.
No worries. Yeah, you were saying that. Did you say it was?
We saw. Notice how there were a couple of things. Didn't accept your identity. Not acknowledgement of what you were. Why you were hurt. I don't think your safety was honored.
Yeah.
I don't think there was fairness of discussion. It was just him throwing. So, I mean, yes, you missed an opportunity to talk to him, but being that upset because all these things are going on at once, these indignities, you're trying to process them all in one sweep.
Yeah.
No understanding from my end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Terribly heartless of you, Tim. Terribly heartless. As they'd say in Oscar Wilde.
It's a rare chance. I couldn't resist.
I know. Part of the fun of this work, like if you can call it fun, I do like it's challenging work, but part of I think the work is it's always wild to me is seeing so many people who are so caring, trying to insult each other, and being so caring around that. It's encouraging, frankly. So, does anyone, if anyone is in the audience, has anything you want to share that you noticed in the role play? Feel free to share it in the chat. Do we want to and Kevin or Bubby or Tim or myself? Do any of us want to share anything else we noticed before we start exploring which elements of dignity came up in this scenario?
What is it called when you violate an element? Like, I feel like by not giving me an ounce of grace, like a millimeter of grace, you maybe contributed in some way to the conflict.
Yeah, right. Like, well, and I think one of the things that Donna Hicks talks about in her 10 Temptations to Violate Dignity is that very often in a conflict, there are senses in which both people might have been able to do better, right? And that's really important. But yeah, I didn't give you any benefit of the doubt. I was very upset. And that might have helped a little bit. What else? What other elements of dignity are involved here? like for instance, acceptance of identity. In what ways is acceptance of identity part of this?
You weren't accepting me being a jerk. I mean, I wasn't accepting your identity by making that kind of mistake and not like immediately thanking you for reminding me or something like that. You know.
Yeah, right. Like there's a sense, right, that you kind of double down, right? And uh, and instead of saying, you know what, I was wrong about this thing, right? Like that could be fairness too, right? Like there's this, but not necessarily to say that I was perfect, right? But there's that element too, right?
It must be fatiguing to try to have a perfect response to recurrent indignity on your same identity. So that's why it may be greased up to just be angry about it, because Tim might not have a constant onslaught of his gender identity. So he can calmly just continue to double down on it. For you, it may be something recurrent.
Right. Yeah, that it's something that for trans women, this happens to us all the time. And sometimes for some people especially, it depends, but for some people especially, it can be really wearing and be really hard. And when we practice these dignity scenarios, it's nice to start them in such a challenging place, right? Like to say, you know, you might have a friend who's trans, whose dignity is violated, and you might only get a couple chances to try to fix the relationship with them. And so, you know, Desmond Tutu points out that we're all precious. Each one of us is dearly precious. And so it's good to practice it in a hard situation, because we want to reach people who are hard, and we want to reach people who are also learning this with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other temptation, or I mean, any other elements of dignity that we want to, that we can see in what was going on, or a violation of dignity? For like, I'll just give an example: acknowledgement, right? Like, I think this has been brought up already, but Tim didn't really acknowledge the pain I was feeling.
Yes.
And so then when he blew me off,
Yes.
when he didn't give me any recognition or understanding, or even benefit of the doubt, then at that point I really got angry and lost my temper.
Yeah, and if independence is encouraging people to act on their own behalf so that they feel in control of their lives, and I said, don't be so sensitive, when you were setting up, you were maintaining a healthy boundary, like of like that I crossed, you were reinforcing a healthy boundary, and I was sort of like not letting that happen. That kind of relates to independence, if we're trying to cover all the bases here.
I'm wondering about safety, that BA's reaction might have been from past experiences, just from hearing it, and being in unsafe situations when she hears it, perhaps might have influenced her reaction, that that wasn't at all kind, or whatever, wasn't open to fixing anything at that moment. It was just open to reacting and being upset, and that might be because she didn't feel safe. I'm just putting that in.
Totally.
That's a great insight. Yeah, because very often, you know, it's an interesting thing that in dignity work, language that is dehumanizing the more dehumanizing the language gets, the closer the language gets to violence.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, yeah.
Something I noticed, Bia, is that Tim starts out by denying your gender identity. But then when he doubles down, he comes back with an insult that's generally attributed to women to be too emotional. So in that sense, you're a woman to take the insult,
Can't
but I'm
win.
not acknowledging your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring this up is because it's complex for you to process both things at the same time. Wait a minute, it's almost confusing to you. First you deny that I'm a woman, and now you insult me like a woman, right? You're trying to do so many things
Yeah.
that
It's
anger
like
just is increased, you know.
if there was one more insult, that would have been called a gish gallop. If it was like in a different, totally different direction.
I never heard of that. A gish gallop.
Yeah, it's named after a fellow named Gallop, I think.
No, Gish.
Or Gish, yeah, Gish.
Yeah,
And-
who was a creationist.
And he won his debates by putting so much information out there to his opponent in so many different directions that there was no possible way you could keep up with them all. And it's a design to kind of shut down a healthy debate. And some people are really good at it.
My goodness, here I am getting political again and just broadening that to what we're seeing, because I've been reading a lot about that a lot of these attacks are to confuse us and overwhelm us. Sounds like gish galloping to me.
Yeah, a famous activist of our time called it flooding the zone with BS. Except he didn't say BS, right? Yeah. So I want to. I think we've. Does anyone else have any aspect of dignity that we want to explore in this? Do we want to start exploring some solutions now and see what we might have done with each other instead?
Yeah, let's.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
And I've made a note here, actually. I think you guys have moved on a bit, but so it goes back a little when we were talking about giving dignity to war criminals, for example. And I made a note because it came into my head that I don't want to give them dignity because they're not giving anybody else dignity. And I know it's not tit for tat, but when you're talking about war crimes, we're not talking about tit for tat.
Sure.
So I just wanted to express that.
Yeah, well, and that brings up an interesting point, and maybe this is a challenging moment to explore that because we just said we were going to go on to solutions, but I'll take a moment. I want to address it because I think once you put it on the table, it should be addressed. You know, but that when one of the things Donna Hicks talks about is that when we violate, when somebody is a dignity violator, it may be very, very tempting to get even and to harm them, right? But sometimes in the process of doing that, we don't realize it, but we harm ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
And so we can talk about that. Let's talk about that more. That's something we can explore. And I don't expect you to agree with me, Sharon. You don't have to agree. You know, but we can let's talk about that more because I think you've got an interesting point there. And let's find maybe let's find a time to explore it. Maybe we want to do a role play about that. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I know you're not. I know you're not into role plays, Sharon. But yeah,
not so much.
Yeah,
things can change. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you were saying, Kevin, that you feel. I think we all kind of feel ready to start exploring solutions now.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
we want relief. We want relief from what you suffered.
Yes. We're on a dark chord here. Yeah.
Accountability, please.
Yeah. So what might we do here? And I'll pull this back up. What might we do to protect each other's dignity? what would folks want to see if we're trying to, like, we can think about it from Tim's point of view and we can think about it from my point of view. Does anyone have any ideas for things that we might try to do that might help us protect each other's dignity better?
One thing I think from my perspective is right away it'd be helpful if Tim acknowledges that you're upset, because until he acknowledges that, you're not heard. And in dignity model, one of the elements is you didn't hear what the person went through. And if he can just hear that you're upset and honor that and express that, it may turn it the right way.
In fact, I think that's a great idea. In fact, what if we just take that one piece and we do the role play again with that one piece and just see where that lands? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, when I do these role plays, a lot of times I try to let them vibe in my heart, and try to feel where does it land. So I'll just go and if there's a big fight or flight, Tim, you're going to get it again. But yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I'm going to take Bubby and Kevin. You're going to be off the stage for a second.
Yes. Okay.
And we'll bring you back.
Lights, camera.
Yes. Let me pull these all up. So Tim, I really like this idea of hospicing hate, because I think it's really strong and I think it's powerful, and I think it captures the fact that we want, in a loving way, to end hate, right? That we want to show respect to the dignity, even as we're ending something that's so against dignity. But I also think hospicing is challenging in a way, because it's kind of morbid, like it evokes funeral home tones, So I feel like maybe we could try something else. Like, what about engaging hate instead of hospicing hate?
Yeah, that's just perfect. It's a nice compromise. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like hospicing is a strong word. I get your especially where when it comes from a book I read called Hospicing Modernity, and it's written from the perspective of a global South woman, petite, Latina. She's got a lot of reason to need a strong word, but us white guys in the global North, we don't need such a strong word, do we?
Excuse me, Tim. Us white guys. Tim.
Sorry. I meant something different. I didn't mean to upset you.
Well, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, because that really, when you said that, I just felt awful. It was just so embarrassing and humiliating, and it wasn't. It felt overwhelming. I have to admit, Tim, I didn't give you the benefit of the doubt there at first, because I was almost about to yell at you, and I was just able to hold back long enough. But I appreciate you apologizing to me and trying to connect.
Thank you for the space to allow me to recover more gracefully than normal.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome, Tim. So now I'm going to bring everybody back. Welcome back. Welcome back. How was that? What did folks notice in that? What did y'all notice?
A lot more grace. between the two of you.
More grace.
And I think it was well done. It took a different turn, but I'd even ask Tim if aside from acknowledging your feelings, then also the data. Like, oh wait a minute, I misstepped. Can you? I'm sorry about that. Can you tell me more, so I really understand why I hurt you? Because it's a little bit like, no, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, but I'm not quite sure why I did. I mean, he wouldn't have probably done it if.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Before we can fix it and move
Yeah.
on, we need to
Yeah.
like articulate or assert what it is that was the offense. We need to fess up to that. And if I can say that, oh, I'm sorry, I misgendered you. I didn't like that
Yeah.
would at least put words on it
Yes.
and help.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even if you weren't sure, asking her, I don't
Yeah.
mean to hurt your feelings. I know I misstepped, but could you help me more so I do learn from it?
How can I fix it?
How can I fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or let's talk about it more so I understand better.
Yeah, so I understand, because yes, I don't mean to offend you, but obviously there's something in the way I think that maybe you should tell me more if you can.
Yeah.
I want you to. I want you to tell me more.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is there's an opportunity here for Tim to invite more learning and more understanding.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you might think about too in this, as we get into it, is okay. So you might also want to say something to the effect of like, you might want to put something in there in some way that doesn't put the pressure on me too much.
Yes.
To address it immediately or feel
Yes.
that now it's my problem, right?
Yes.
Because that can add weight to it, right? So,
Yes.
how would you say it in such a way that it makes it voluntary for me? How might you say it?
Could I just reflect back and say, oh, I'm noticing that what I said really upset you, and I'm sorry. Or maybe with a little more specificity.
Yeah. Do you want to try again? Maybe let's see. Let's yeah.
I'm
Rewind.
going to throw something in. Could Tim possibly say, apologizing for misgendering and so on, and could we maybe talk about this sometime so that I understand better, rather than putting you on the spot for talking about it right at that moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty strong.
Because a lot of times when I make someone mad, though I apologize, they don't have all the data yet of why they're mad at me. I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. That's okay, right? Okay, I didn't mean to, but if you have the data, your voice is coming in when you're ready, has been pointed out. Like maybe sometime I would be helping you when it's good for you to tell me more, because I don't want to miss. I probably need to change how I think about things or something. Maybe I need more information.
Yeah, and I want to say I think that's really helpful, right? Because you're giving Tim a chance to express his desire to learn about it and to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to. How are folks feeling with this so far? What we've come up with. I feel, me personally, I don't speak for all trans women, but me personally, I feel like this is actually a pretty good starting point with it. And I think even something that would be good for me, very good to say that. We might be able to build more into it to protect dignity And if anybody's in the audience and can think of anything, feel free to share anything you're hoping from it too, or any ideas you have in the audience. But if we, and by the way, if somebody watches this later after the live stream, you can still share in the chat your ideas, and we'll try to pick up on them. We're going to keep developing scenarios like this, and so if nobody else has any other ideas about this at the moment, maybe we can then take a look at, okay, and now this part is a little bit for me. So I'm the person here who's a trans woman, and so I'm going to start with a couple of my ideas, and then give folks a chance to see if some ideas that you have might be ideas that would feel fitting for me. Because we want to be mindful when you're talking to somebody who has a vulnerable identity. You don't want to be like the white knight in shining armor who comes by and says, "Hey, have I got ideas for you, trans woman? Here's how you're gonna make sure that your dignity is protected." No, that's not good. That's not gonna work. So I want to take a moment and think about what I might have done, and I guess we can do it together. I feel good about this. But for folks in the audience, we're not trying to say that we're encouraging people to go out and tell trans women all their best ideas about how we can live a better life, right? Like,
No.
But yeah, so we had talked before. I'm gonna just come back to some of the things that people had noticed that yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Oh, I was just lowering my microphone.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so yeah, things went south really quickly was one of the observations people mentioned, and that once I kind of got triggered about it, once Tim had said that to me, that it was really hard to recover in some way, but there was also the sense as well that in the beginning, when Tim had said that, first what I did was I was just kind of flabbergasted, if you all remember. And I was just kind of like, Tim, do you understand what's going on here? I'm a woman. This is I don't remember my exact words. Maybe, I don't think I said this is insulting, but that was kind of what I was feeling, I remember. And so I could respond to that differently. Right? Like, what would I guess I'll just, since we've been here for a little bit, I guess I'll share some thoughts about it, and then we can see if we can improve it, and maybe that would be a good place to take it today, and then we can wrap up.
Okay.
I think because we've been here for an hour, and this is really great. My thought on how I could have responded differently to this was that when Tim, well, when it really happened, I let me just talk about what I would do. I might first just, like, Tim, can you say it to me again? The thing that you don't have to go through the whole thing, but just the last part, what you said, the us guys part. Can you just repeat that part again?
Yeah, just but us white guys in the global north don't need that strong of a word.
Yeah, and so at this moment, I'm probably going to be breathing, carefully, and just taking a moment, right? If I'm in this situation, I'm probably going to breathe a little bit and try to center myself, and I might say, I heard you say, us white guys, and then I might try to give you the benefit of the doubt, and say, Tim, I know how much you've protected my dignity in other situations and how much you cared about me. And here I'm noticing you misgender me. That might be one way I could start. I might even say how it makes me feel, right? Like I feel sad and embarrassed when I hear that, and even a little bit angry.
You originally, I mean, actually did not take the bait at all. And you also maybe gave me the grace of a pause, probably while you were breathing, now that you mention it. And that pause was enough for me to realize, oh, wait. and you even were willing to carry on with the conversation. And you said something, and I was like, oh, wait, sorry. And that's, I think I tripped over myself a little bit by saying sorry. And that's when you were like, right away, thank you for acknowledging. Yeah. And then it kind of opened the space for a little bit of dialogue about what just happened. And that's when we got the idea to make this a situation, a scenario to practice with.
Yeah, I mean, it's so pertinent right now, you know, and yeah, like sometimes as you do this work more, you know, you tune in, you breathe, and you just feel the vibes, right? Like I could kind of see that Tim had something on his face after I was breathing, and that gave me a little bit of space to say, okay, let's come back to this in a sec, you know. I need like, but then Tim came back to it, you know, and we were able to trust that, and so. Is there anything else folks can think of that maybe we could do to improve this? We're going to keep working on this one. This one's a good one, and there's a lot that we can learn from it, and we can probably even do more videos like this that are even shorter and more effective and engage a larger audience. But
I want to notice in your actual response, not the scenario that you build up for teaching, but the actual scenario, the way you responded. Don't you think you responded the way Donna Hicks would respond?
I'm very grateful that you think that, and I don't. What makes you? I think that's an interesting point. I hadn't thought about it actually. You caught me off guard.
Because what I noticed is that you gave yourself, you felt the impact. You centered yourself in your breathing. You expressed your feeling. You gave room. You gave honest feedback. And then you paused to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they could come back. And I think you responded in what you're teaching.
Thank you.
Beautifully.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be very, thank you. It can be very challenging for a lot of folks, both trans folks and people who aren't trans, to protect each other's dignity. And, you know, I can remember when I was living on the steps of the Senate and the Senate grounds with veterans, Jon Stewart, David Hogg, to pass the PACT Act that guaranteed 3.5 million veterans cancer treatment. We were, my partner Nora and I were two of the only trans people who were there, who weren't veterans. And even then, among veterans, there were a handful of trans veterans there, and I remember very often I'd meet somebody who maybe didn't have a lot. And we were talking about this in the session in the morning, by the way, the 10 a.m. session this morning. You know, that you know, that very often a lot of people may not intend to hurt anybody, but they may not have any experience with it. And I found that to be the case, that, you know, there'd be some, you know, elder veteran who maybe misgendered me or something, and I'd say, oh, excuse me, I identify as a woman. And I might even say, just so you know, I identify as a woman. And and it was wild. These people who are like military women and men. Although I have to say, very few women ever misgender me. It happens a lot less in that space, but it does happen in both. But in that case, I don't think any women did misgender me there. But it was when these old warriors, and some of them middle-aged warriors even, would make, every once in a while, it'll happen a couple times, would make a mistake, and I'd say that, they'd say, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And they'd be beside themselves, and many of them would never make the mistake again. I'm not saying everybody has to do that. That's not a test of whether you're making your best effort to be inclusive of trans folks. But it was very heartening to see that, and very encouraging. And it's very encouraging sitting here with all of you, doing this work, trying to help each other stay safe, and keep each other safe. So I'm very grateful to that, and it's not easy work, as we were just saying.
Thank you for bringing us into awareness and sharing the journey with us and helping us all get home safely.
It's a pleasure and an honor. What were you saying, Kep?
Absolutely.
I'm just feeling thankfulness and honor for everybody on this call to take the time and effort to work on safety for everyone.
Yeah. And I feel like in this moment of divisive intentionality, creating wedges between us, this work is so important, and giving people the benefit of the doubt, and not taking the bait, and practicing maintaining our 7 powers of self-control, or however you want to, like, if the dignity is about how we treat others, then it's definitely something that we have to practice. And
then that brings us back where we started, right? That it's a muscle, as Dr. Kevin said, right? It's a muscle.
Yeah, it's got to be worked.
That's right. That's right.
But it's not easy, but it has such great rewards. Just imagine if we can reach out to folks who expect us to be the bad guys, and we realize that they're acting out, and we can kind of call them in to their better selves by disarming and diffusing the conflictive situation. They're all wrapped up in because of their background and what they've heard and what they think is right, and the fear that they're basing their behaviors on. We can just give them a little space to really connect.
Put it down, connect.
Yeah. I do believe that very often in society, I've seen this because I mediate a lot. And sometimes these things are very close, that sometimes people take the bait, and maybe if they hadn't, it might have gone a different way, and especially when somebody hurts somebody else badly, and then that person has that feeling, that sting in their heart, that now they, Donna Hicks says that her work came out of her negotiating between all these warring parties. And she said, I'm a psychologist. So as a psychologist, I was constantly noticing this kind of under the table dialogue. And I think she said what the voice said from every side was always, how dare you? Can't you see that this is hurting me, that I'm a human being? And there's a deep part inside of us that really hurts, all of us. And sometimes we don't we're not fast enough. We're
Mhm.
not, we can't, fight or flight is too strong. It overwhelms us,
Mhm.
Um, but I think also sometimes if we can protect each other's dignity, maybe there'll be a little bit more there for us.
Wow, what a beautiful representation of the work today.
Thank you. And thank you for making this representation together. It's such a pleasure and an honor. And if folks value this work, if you value this work, I just want to share with folks in the audience that there's more of this that you can do. So we have over here. This is if you can all see it. This is our meetup site, and I'm going to share the link in the chat because you can all join our meetup and you can come to our sessions. And it's not just our meetup. It's also, you can go to our website, codewhatever.us. I'm going to share that in the chat too. And if you go to our website, you can just see this here. And let me put the link here for everybody. If you found the work that we did today to be meaningful and encouraging, this work is not always easy. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. So if folks find value in the work, we would be honored, if you felt called to donate. And I'm going to share this link in the chat too. If it'll let me, hold on. There, can you see all that? Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone who's been here and who's joined us. This was such a beautiful morning together, or afternoon, I should say.
And thank
it
you for
started in the
that.
morning. Yeah, thank you. So in the chat, there's all kinds of links here to connect with us, to come to our events, to donate if you can. No pressure, but it does help us out a lot. That's all I've got. Anybody else got anything?
I want to thank you all for this work and for repeating it today since I missed it this morning. I'm truly thankful about that too.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Just gratitude.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It is good to be here with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
of
look
course.
forward to the next time
Bye-bye.
as well.
Me too.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
I got a
Bye.
4 o'clock.